How's it going, everybody? So we are basically at the end of Acts. So Paul's saga is the end of Acts. Good to know. And on Friday, we'll begin First Timothy. Good, excuse me, good Lord willing, and then the 2 days worth of Revelation 13, which is your 666 chapter. It's your big Antichrist, um, abomination of desolation chapter. So we'll get into that, and maybe we'll do a deep study and put it to the deep study playlist. And that reminds me, I should do this more often. My channel, if you go to playlist, you can start a playlist from the beginning, and there's a lot that are off script also, like No Free Will, John 3:16. It's a 2-video playlist. The Word of God is but three things. God the actor versus God the creator. Because the creator God, the sovereign God, ordained the role that he himself would play in the Old and New Testament, because the word, the script, was before anything was. That's key to understanding. Once you understand that, the whole Bible comes alive, especially the no free will part. He's declared the end from the beginning. He's chosen a sheep from before the foundations of the world. So that is Isaiah 46:10, and then that's Ephesians 1, 4, and 5. As grace is nothing more than favor. That is in the definition of grace in the Greek. And on verse 10 of Ephesians 2, it's explained what Ephesians 1, 4, and 5 is saying, that the sheep were chosen before the foundation of the world. You can fuse all of that with John 6:39, 6:44. Yeah, and 6:65, which also fuses nicely with Romans 8:29 and 30. And so there you have it. So the playlist, you start any Bible study you want from the beginning. You're always going to get a New Testament and an end times at the end. So if you start at end times, like Revelation 14, you would be dead in the middle of the book of Acts. Well, towards the end, the last third, Acts 21. If you were to start Acts of the Apostles, you would be getting all of Daniel, and you would start Revelation at Revelation 11, which is pretty much, so Acts covers all of Revelation and Daniel, as it begins with Revelation 11 and it ends with Revelation 13. And in the middle of that, so you've overlapped it. You'll go from 11 all the way through chapter 21, and then you'll start at the beginning of it after you finish the end times book of Daniel. So it's the end of the last half of Revelation, all of Daniel, and the first half of Revelation. That's what you're getting when you go through the book of Acts playlist. That's Gigantica. Wow. All right. So anyway, I'm just going to go wing it in the King James and see how we do, because we know this is the end of Paul and his saga of his issues in Jerusalem by the scribes and the Pharisees. And then he appeals. He wants to take it to court, wants to appeal to Caesar as it's said. And so then, even though he's found innocent locally, they just like, since you appealed to Caesar, it's kind of like, well, since you said you want to go before the Supreme Court, even though we think you would win here at the local court, we'll send you to the Supreme Court. They're sending him to Caesar. They're sending him to Rome. So anyway, where we found brethren, we desired to tarry or hang out, stay with them 7 days. So we went toward Rome. And from there, when the brethren heard of us, they came to meet us far as Appii Forum and the three taverns, whom when Paul saw, he thanked God and took courage. That is awfully tough in the King James, isn't it? Taverns. I'm sure there's going to be more to that. And I just can't get it to you mentally, can I? That 15th century King's English. It sure is a toughie. So now that we're here, let's just go with it. There we found some believers who invited us to spend a week with them. And so we came to Rome. The brothers and sisters in Rome, we heard were coming, and they came to meet us at the Forum on the Appian Way. Others joined us at the Three Taverns. Well, that's actually the name of the place. Okay. When Paul saw them, he was encouraged and thanked God. When we arrived in Rome, Paul was permitted to have his own private lodging, though he was guarded by a soldier. It's not like jail today. It's almost kind of like a house arrest kind of situation he was in. 3 days after Paul's arrival, he called together the local Jewish leaders and said to them, "Brothers, I was arrested in Jerusalem and handed over to the Roman government, even though I had done nothing against our people or the customs of our ancestors. The Romans tried me and wanted to release me." So basically, he's synapsing what I already synapsed for you, because they found no cause for the death sentence. But when the Jewish leaders protested the decision, I felt it necessary to appeal to Caesar, even though I had no desire to press charges against any of my own people. I asked you to come here because Paul was originally a Pharisee, the ones that crucified Jesus, and now they're trying to have Paul killed. I asked you to come here today so we could get acquainted and so I can explain to you that I am bound with this chain because I believe that the people of Israel, the Messiah, has already come, and we'll continue that tomorrow. We can read the end of it in the King James just to catch a little poetry. But when the Jews spake against it, I was constrained to appeal unto Caesar, not that I ought to accuse of my nation of. For this cause, therefore, I called for you to see you and to speak with you, because that for the hope of Israel I am bound with this chain. Now we're going to finish Revelation 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down to you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have but a short time. And when the dragon saw that he was cast to the earth, he persecuted. So this is your great tribulation. He's persecuting the church, what brought forth the man-child. I would imagine once the event takes place and we're living in the book of Revelation in real time and the abyss is open, that's when Satan is cast. He's no longer, his job is now to persecute the church, to deal with the humans, because the earth is now supernatural. As we talked, and he will be possessing the body of the Antichrist, so his feet are on the ground. That's what the mark of the beast is. It's total human body possession. And when the dragon saw that he was cast to the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child. So it's persecuting the church. And the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle that she might fly into the wilderness. So again, this is the remnant specific, and probably was the whole time. The woman was probably not just the church, but the Jewish bloodline specific, or it fuses in and out of that. Either way. Into her place where she is nourished for a time and half of a dividing time from the face of the serpent. So the 3.5 days of the Great Tribulation, there is no harm on the 144,000 of the remnant that are redeemed from the earth. Remember, Jesus cuts the day short, or else no flesh would be saved. The amount of flesh that would be saved would be what? 144,000. I think. I know that 144,000, let's just say this, just to be perfectly perfect with this book. The 144,000 are spared and protected, and others might still be alive that are not of the bloodline, because when it speaks of their rejoicing earlier, when we read it, and it said, who are these? And he said, thou know, sir, these are those which came out of the great tribulation. It was Revelation 7, wasn't it? Let's jump back to that. I mean, here it is, the 14th study, and we still learn new stuff. That's why we go back and forth, don't we? So they had the seal of God on their foreheads. That would be the remnant. And it's the 144,000. It's the tribes of Judah. And then it's all over. Salvation to our God and the angels, and the great tribulation is over. Blessed glory and thanksgiving. Did it already speak? Well, after this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude which no man could number. So this is more than the 144,000. And who were they? And they're given white robes. So whose are these in the white robes? He said it's those that came out of the great tribute. Oh, all right. My bad. I'm going to blame that on not having enough water. Being burnt out on caffeine. And I need to get some sleep. These were all that were killed in the Great Tribulation. The 144,000 are those that were spared from the Great Tribulation. And no man can number those that were killed. So I don't even know what I was thinking. I was just dumb. So we just go with our first thought. So, which is the way I'd always taught it. I don't know why I just got way outside the box there. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as if it were a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. And if you search flood, and let me see. I've already made one boo-boo, so I don't want to make another one. Yeah, at the end times in the book of Daniel, it said, with the arms of a flood shall they be overflown before him, and shall be broken, yea, also the prince of the covenant. So the flood, there is something to do with a flood. And of course, at the end of the Batman, was it Batman or Batman? 2022 Batman movie? The Batman. So let's go to the Batman film flood scene. So flood in Gotham. And of course, this is the end of the movie. Like the end times, because Batman is always their antichrist, right? So my volume was super low, I guess because I put on this video. I don't know, or how long has it been low? Very sorry. But always when I go to YouTube, it'll drop the volume. So yeah, well, you see him in the water, and there's the waters rising in Gotham. So yeah, that the flood part is over. So there he's in the water with the flame. Or he's rising or standing in the water. So anyway, all the villains are characteristics of God. That's why the Riddler is the. Let's check volume again. That's why the Riddler is the. We're good. Jesus speaking in parables and so forth. All right. So yeah, a definite flood at the end times. That he might cause her to be carried away with a flood. The earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood, which the dragon cast out of his mouth. And the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed. Again, that's the remnant, which keepeth the commandments of God and have testimony of Jesus Christ. Because they were of the old covenant. All right, I'm glad you're here. Love you very much. Ask questions anytime. That's what I'm here for.